good. It was everything I hoped it would be. We started a sailing school. Keel is officially out.
Good job.
Oh, went snowboarding. We enjoyed the mountains.
This winter was great because we got to spend so much time in nature. There's kind of an interesting layover between, you know, sailing and snowboarding because you're just interacting with nature in such an incredible way. You know, when you go sailing, you're using the wind to move and you're on the ocean and all this. And then when you're snowboarding or skiing, you're like sliding down this massive mountain on snow and you're floating on powder, and it's just such a cool way to interact with nature. So obviously we haven't been doing a lot of traveling over the last year.
This Galapagos trip has been in the works for, I would say, a year and a half now, probably.
So when we were in Saba, I guess it was a couple of years ago now.
We got a message from this guy and he said, hey, I own a liveaboard company and one of the boats is right next to you in Saba.
But we did a night dive with them, and then the owner of the boat, we just stayed in contact with him, and
he's like, I have a new boat that's coming in the Galapagos and I don't have any video for it at all. So do you guys want to come along and do like a ton of video and photos for promo and advertising, and then of course film it for our new YouTube channel? And we said yes.
That's my favorite part about traveling, is kind of having this outline of what you think a place is, and then you go there and it kind of gets colored in as you explore more and more. So I think that's the feeling that I'm getting right now, like just excited to learn what Ecuador and the Galapagos are all about.
It feels good. It feels really good to have something like we're going somewhere we're gonna go and experience another culture and experience a place we've never dove before. How many hats are you gonna bring?
How many hats am I gonna bring?
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know. I haven't really started packing yet.
Oh shit, we better get on that.
I know, we leave tomorrow and it's time to go start trying to pack because it's gonna be a lot. We should probably go do that.
Let's do it. Whoa! But first, we had to pass along Sharky to some friends who would be watching her while we were gone.
I love you. Be good. Be good. I love you. Bye.
Thank you. Have fun. Have fun, you little girl. Spring break for you.
Bye, Sharky. Bye, baby. Bye-bye. I love you. She'll be good. She'll be in good hands. Okay.
Okay, next step.
Next step. What is the next step?
Pack.
Yeah. Okay, let's do it.
Maybe relax and have a hug.
Yeah, hugs are good.
Hugs are good.
So pack we did. Lots and lots of packing. Along with the heaps of camera gear we were lugging along, we also had to bring our own dive gear all the way down to South America. It only took us 6 flights and 2 days to make it down to the equator. And of course, we took every precaution along the way. Our final flight led us about 700 miles off the coast of mainland Ecuador, where we flew in over the world-famous archipelago, consisting of 19 islands and dozens of islets. The Galapagos is one of the most volcanically active places in the world, sitting atop a juncture of 3 tectonic plates and 1 very active hotspot. Over millennia, the islands were created by magma repeatedly breaking through the seafloor to form what would one day become this world-renowned national park and marine reserve. Today, about 25,000 people live among the 4 inhabited islands of Santa Cruz, San Cristobal, Floriana, and our first stop, Isabella.
So now taxi to the apartment we're gonna be staying for a couple nights. I'm gonna take a shower.
First thing I'm gonna do is take these pants
It's
off.
so freaking hot. I haven't been in a hot, humid place in so long.
Right? Alright, let's do it.
After dropping our bags off, we hit the streets to see what we could find. So we haven't made it far and there's just animals everywhere, like 300 feet outside of our door. What is that, Lou?
Massive pelican that just came and landed right next to us.
stepped 2 minutes out of our little house after we changed. That's what we get.
Oh my god. It's so crazy. There's animals everywhere. Like you have to look out so you don't step on an iguana or a seal or anything, but they're just chilling. It's so cool to see animals and humans be able to live together more in harmony and have the animals not be scared of us humans. It's super rare. Is it alive?
Oh yeah.
It's so cool to see them up so close.
What's the long Sharky?
They totally remind me of Sharky. It's so funny.
After a long couple days of travel, we were ready for our first local beer. Isn't that cool?
So this beer is made on the island?
Yeah, a guy just started this like a year ago, and it's pretty good.
It's
Yeah.
really good.
I mean, how many people live on Isabella?
3,000 people.
So 3,000 people, and he's like, I'm gonna start a brewery.
Yeah, and it really works because here on the island, like we depend on the boat that come from the mainland for food.
Right.
And for the pandemic, it didn't come in a while, so we didn't have beer a long time. We did not have beer in New Year's Eve, in Christmas, in
The
Carnival.
whole island was out.
No.
The whole island was out. They were buying beers from Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
And each like 12 beer box was $50. And it's usually like 28, 25.
So this brewery was created out of necessity.
Out of a necessity. Yes.
That's so cool.
Out of a necessity.
He did a great job, Mr. Lee.
Yeah, he did.
Super good.
Our first mission was to rent some bikes, load up our camera gear, and see what Isabella had in store for us.
So drones in the Galapagos are definitely not permitted in some areas, but as far as all of our local sources have told us, they are allowed in the towns. So yeah, we're gonna fly it a little bit, but we're just gonna fly it high so we don't annoy anyone.
It's giving me, DJI is giving me the error cannot take off, and I go into the status and it says aircraft is in a no-fly zone.
Okay.
So yeah, there's airports all over the world. DJI collects all the data for them of their locations and no-fly zones around, and then automatically pushes it to the app, especially when you update. You can't really ignore it. So we're technically in a no-fly zone, and it won't even let you fly.
Okay. Tiny plane.
You wonder why it's a no-fly zone?
Yeah, that's a tiny plane too. When we heard that drones were questionable on the Galapagos, I started seeing all these videos of people posting stuff from 360 cameras, and if you put it on a big extendable pole, I mean this one's not that big, and hold it up above you, it kind of looks like it's a low drone shot. So we're gonna try it right now. What better time to try it than when the drone isn't working, right?
We gotta get some long poles.
We need some long poles.
All right, Operation Fake Drone Shot commence.
Let's do it.
If you didn't look like a tourist before, now you do.
Oh my god, the worst.
You know, this is kind of how Google Maps does their stuff, except they have a big 360 camera on top of a car, and they just drive around.
Nice. Maybe they're hiring. So very few of the roads on Isabella are paved. There's kind of one entry road that's paved, and then right when you hit town, it's all just sandy dirt roads, which is actually really nice. But very bumpy. Oh, we gotta come back to this bar. Definitely gonna have to come back to this bar at some point. Whoa.
What a place for a cemetery.
Right?
Holy crap.
Dang. What?
They obviously can't bury people deep here because it's right near the ocean, so everybody's in like mausoleum type things above ground.
Right. It's really nice cemetery. Wow. What do you think? Where would you want to be buried?
I want to be put in like a burlap sack, and then put in the ground and have a seed in there. It grows into a tree.
Yeah.
So you can come visit my tree.
What, you're gonna die before me?
Yeah, probably. Sorry.
Okay, are we out of the zone?
We're just on the edge of it,
Yoo-hoo!
so we just can't fly that way.
Okay, cool. Here she goes.
She goes. Let's try follow me mode.
Okay. We were stoked to finally get the drone in the air and gain some perspective on exactly what was surrounding us. We had made it out of the town limits and into the national park, which protects an astonishing 97% of the Galapagos landmass. The park was established in 1959 and covers more than 3,000 square miles. But this area wasn't always protected and had quite the history of being exploited by humans from the start. Their first recorded discovery occurred in 1535 by a Panamanian bishop whose becalmed ship was carried west by currents. He deemed the islands worthless due to their lack of fresh water and supposed absence of decent farming lands. There are tales from ancient cultures referring to these fire islands long before the bishop, but the details of this are lost in time. By the late 16th century, the Galapagos became a base for pirates due to their proximity to Latin America and unlimited hiding spots for stashing bounty. By 1790, pirates were being replaced by whalers, who found seemingly endless supplies of whales and seals in the area. At this time, the islands were owned by an uninterested Spain, but were taken easily by the Republic of Ecuador in 1832. A few years later, a young Charles Darwin spent 5 weeks on the islands, which had such a profound effect on him that he was inspired to craft his theory of evolution. Over the years, many had their go at attempting to live on these volcanic islands. But it wasn't until the 1970s that a tourism boom brought in modern technology such as desalinators and generators, which allowed the present-day Galapagos population to flourish. It felt wild to so easily explore a place that had evaded humans for so long, and instead acted as an ideal environment for animals to thrive. What is it, Senor?
Huge wild land tortoise.
What? Whoa. We've only seen them at the breeding centers so far. So, yeah, I was editing pictures this morning, and I was like, dang, the only thing we don't really have pictures of yet in our first 3 days is the tortoise, but one's out here just chilling, super casual. Oh my god, he's grubbing so hard. This is amazing.
know much about tortoises, but all that I've learned in like 3 days. So when ships first started coming to the Galapagos, they found the tortoises and they realized that they could live without food for over 100 years.
100 years?
Yep. So when the pirates and buccaneers and merchant marines, all those people discovered Galapagos and started coming to these islands, they found that the tortoises could live without food for up to a year and water like 6 months. So they started packing them onto the ships, putting them in the bilges, feeding them water occasionally, and then you have food that you don't have to bring extra food to feed them. So the population around here was just completely destroyed for a long time. But now they have a lot of breeding centers throughout the islands that are breeding the tortoises and putting them back into the wild. So the island that we're on right now is called Isabella, and there's 5 different volcanoes that were super active in the past. And as the lava flows went down into the sea, it blocked off the tortoises from crawling around and getting to different parts of the island. So there's 5 unique species of tortoises on this island alone, which is cool because you can just see like evolution in real time happening because they couldn't get across the lava flows and breed with each other. Scientists think that tortoises can live to be over 150 years old. This one, I think it's a female and I've named it Gladys. Gladys has been eating these poisonous apples, chasing it with grass, eating the apples, chasing it with grass, and then pooping and peeing all the way down the walkway. And these apples that she's eating are super poisonous to humans, but the acids in the tortoise's stomach is able to kill everything off, and they're able to live off of them. Look at this poop. It's super hard, super dense poop. Poisonous apples and grass. It doesn't really smell too bad. I wonder how long it takes for them to digest after he eats.
I thought it was a girl.
I wonder how long it takes to digest after Gladys eats these apples. How cool is it to see one of these turtles in the wild?
It's really cool. According to my little book that I've been carrying around, it's pretty rare to see them out in the wild. It's way more common to see them in the breeding centers. Obviously, it's different when you see an animal in the wild as opposed to like in a cage. I mean, the breeding centers are doing an amazing, awesome job. I think it's so good what they're doing, but it's just a different experience to see them out here in the wild. We would later have the chance to visit a tortoise breeding center, and were amazed to see their efforts of harboring young tortoises until they were big enough to release into the wild. We even got a chance to sit down with a naturalist guide to learn more about the giant tortoise.
Well, hi everyone. My name is Rogelio Waicha. I'm a naturalist guide.
And it's kind of prestigious to be a guide here in the Galapagos.
Yes, that's true. Like a lot of young people, particularly a lot of young people. And because we are ambassadors of to the world of this place, and this is something really special to do. Of course, we are all isolated and surrounded by water, and the nearest coast the South American coast is 600 miles from here. So there's a lot to explain there. How these animals, obviously, they are not able to swim these long distances. Obviously, they cannot fly. But scientists they have a theory that this probably occurred millions of years ago because their ancestors of these gigantic tortoises, they have been extinct for millions of years in the mainland. So probably when they were babies, they arrived floating on raft of vegetation. And this can be possible, it is feasible. Because if we go to the Gulf of Guayaquil, so you see these two big rivers converging to the Gulf of Guayaquil, the Daule River and the Guayas River. So when we have these heavy rains during the rainy season in the mainland, December to May, there's big raft of vegetation that always come down to these estuaries, and then also the strength of this river can take them towards the open sea. But this is probably how these animals they made it to these islands. Yeah, so once floating away when they were babies, floating away and after approximately 2 weeks is what the scientists consider what it takes for this raft to make it to the Galapagos Islands, just transported by the marine currents.
Rogelio went on to explain that once the tortoise did arrive, the species had millions of years to develop in an environment that was void of their natural predators. And this theme was a common one for all the animals that swam, flew, or floated here and left their predators on the mainland behind. Some scientists believe that since the animals lived in harmony with each other for so long without having to invoke their fight or flight response, they aren't too worried about each other, or humans for that matter. This curious quality of Galapagos creatures is still not fully understood, but it is surely a rare one that gives us a peek into a world where humans and animals can coexist on more peaceful terms.
Next up, we go on a wild mission to the southern side of the island to learn more about the blue-footed booby.
Sharky, come on. Good girl.
So Sharky has some big news to share.
We started a Patreon account.
It's been so long in the making, but the time is here.
Yep. So if you made it this far, you watched the whole episode and you like what you saw, then head on over to patreon.com/cruisersacademy to become a part of our crew and support us in making more films.
The best part, 100% of what we get through Patreon goes back into us making more films and releasing content on YouTube. So thank you so much for being part of our journey, and we're excited to see you on Patreon.
Thank you. How you feeling?
I had an explosion this morning. It must have been that burrito I got in Dallas. It destroyed me. But that's what woke me up. Our alarms did not go off.
We had 2 alarms set for the taxi, neither of them worked.
But I woke up with imminent diarrhea. And that's what got us out of bed. I was like, oh, we gotta go. Oh, shit.